In this video, I'm going to be upgrading every single premade. However, the premade must use a low amount of parts. The premade must not use a lot of cash. And the premade must keep the original look. I'm going to start by adding all the decoration premades. I'm going to be starting with the tree and pot premade. First, I'm going to delete the leaves in the stem, so I can create my own plant. I'm going to create leaves with this surfboard, and add a curve to make it look better. Then, I'm going to rotate it around each other, and add 2 more levels. Finally, I'm going to put it together, and place it on the pot. This looks pretty good, but wait, the part count is way too high. Let's restart. I'm going to create a few variations of the tree and pot premade. The first version I will make will be simple, with 1 icosphere for the leaves. For the next version, I'm going to add another branch. I'm also going to make the stem thicker. For the next version, I'm going to add a long icosphere. And for the final version, I'm going to try to recreate my first attempt, but with an icosphere. Now, it's time to put my plant onto the pot, and see how it turns out. The part count was looking a lot better, but then, I realized something. In the premade, the pot had no bottom, so I quickly fixed that for all the versions and added this design on the pots. Now, it's time for the next premade. First, I'm going to try and clean up all the dew stains, but there were too many, so I decided to start from scratch. I created this cool design, but I noticed this weird edge sticking out, so I decided to fix that. But then, my friend said this.
Pro a fridge.
So I started to color everything in.
Pro a fridge.
But then, I realized my fridge did not match the original look, and it used way too many parts. So I deleted everything. I decided to remake the wardrobe, but with no dew stains, so that I could wire a button mechanism that opens the doors. I decided not to use spin parts, but the wardrobe was still pretty cool. Now, it's time for the next premade. The first thing I decided to do was make everything smooth. Then, I added lines and added planks onto the sides. I created one version with the roof, and one version that was open. Now, it's time for the next premade. I used more icospheres to create the rocks. I created multiple versions so that all the rock premades were done. I'm going to speedrun these. Next, premades. For the oil can premade, I changed the colors and changed the thickness of the cylinders. I also added a hollow cylinder on top for more detail. For the oven, tried to recreate it in a more accurate way. Now, it's time for the next premade. For the trees, I just enlarged the tree and pot. Premades. Now, it's time for the next premade. For this next premade, I tried to get Bobby's help, but he ended up trolling me. I tried everything I could to try and make the surfboard better, but I just couldn't make it look better. But then, I saw this. I reduced the part count by 1. Now, it's time for the next premade. For the trash can premade, I created a gray metal trash can with a similar structure. For the bush premade, I copied the rocks I made and changed the color and material to match the bush. I also made the icospheres can collide falls. Now, it's time for the next premade. For the cooler premade, I turned the cooler into a square and used this cool trick to resize multiple parts. I also added depth and a handle for you to hold the cooler. Now, it's time for the next premade. For the chair premade, I changed the colors and added a seat part. I also removed Z-fighting. Now, it's time for the next premade. For the cat's tree premade, I just fixed all the dew stains. I think this is what it was supposed to look like. Now, it's time for the next premade. For the cannon premade, I changed the colors and made it so that you actually get flung. Now, it's time for the next premade. For the bench premade, I added seats and armrests because of this. Me first. Bobby guess.
LOL, I'm giggling. No handles.
Now, it's time for the next premade. For the barbecue premade, I tried to remake it but more accurate. Now, it's time to put all the premades into one showcase. This showcase ended up terrible, but I realized that sometimes, trying to improve something can make it worse. It's important to know when to embrace imperfections, learn from mistakes, and understand that not everything needs to be perfect to be valuable.